But I'd be interested to, but generally is that, would Plavich be expected to give wines with a certain amount of structure, a bit of tannin, the ability to age, and suitable for aging in oak? Would that be fair, generally speaking? Yes. Okay. Good. It's clearly an interesting grape, and there are no. Sometimes you come across grapes that people are unfamiliar with, and they have flavours that people are going to find off-putting. People are going to think, no, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to work. Whereas there, I think you've got flavours which I think could very easily work on export markets. I think there's a lot of positive things about the flavours. Sorry, what about the Californian style? On Californian style wines, we just don't see them. The Californians don't export to the UK anymore. Because look, a little bit. They supply huge quantities of blush Zinfandel, okay, with 30 grams of residual sugar. But at the premium end from California, they don't sell to the UK anymore. Because they can get more for the wine in the United States than they can in the UK. We're not prepared to pay their prices. And we also, they're not really our style of wine. Sorry, that sounds very patronising. It's not meant to. But it's true. The style of the wine that is enjoyed on the west coast of the United States just isn't what the British enjoy drinking at the moment. So they're better off keeping the wines in the States. And yeah, I can tell I'm going to enjoy this. Number 25 was... It was number 25 of the three. Number 25 is clearly the lighter in style, and it's slightly outgunned by the other two in that respect. But I thought quite mature now, some sweetness of fruit, something. I was trying to think what it reminded me of, and I'm still not quite sure, but it somehow reminds me of a faintly Italian style of red, that sweetness, but also the bitterness of fruit on the finish. But nicely made, well judged, absolutely no reason why. Well, I think people expect that sort of style from a mature red wine. The Syrah, the next one, sorry, the Bas de Bas red, I think is fantastic. I think it's got real intensity of flavour, incredible. It's got tremendous freshness, and that's what I love. I keep coming back to this word freshness, but that's only because it is so important in international markets at the moment. Anybody can make super powerful, highly alcoholic wines, but making wines with intensity of flavour and freshness is the key. And that's exactly what this has got. Really, really well judged fruit. It's interesting because it's not overtly Syrah or Shiraz. It's not jammy, it's not too peppery, it's not too gamey, it's not too much of anything, and it's certainly not too oaky. But it all comes together in a really nice whole, and it's just delicious to drink because of its freshness. Sometimes when I see a wine with that depth of colour, I'm actually a bit worried. I think it's going to be over-extracted and a bit tannic, and I'm worried, but it's not. It's really, really, really well done. I think that's top class. As is the Roxanich Cabernet Sauvignon. It smells right. It smells classy. Again, smells very classy. That nose of pencil lead, as well as the fruit, and on the palate, on the palate, it surprised me a little bit because it tasted a bit more mature than it smelt for me. So it tasted a bit more mature than I was expecting it to, but it's got lovely flavours, very long. There's a tobacco edge which I associate with all really good Cabernet Sauvignon-based wines. Still long, some tannin, although I may be wrong, but I got the impression this maybe isn't the most tannic of vintages. I don't know whether that's right, but I felt it was very nicely balanced, but like it if I compare it to other wines. But funny enough, there's a wine actually on display over there that it reminds me of, which is the Mas La Plana from Torres, which is, you know, that's pretty classy, expensive Cabernet Sauvignon. This is different because of the way you've made it. And I think at Mas La Plana takes a long time to achieve the sort of roundness and completeness, the harmony that you've got here. But it's very good. Thank you. Okay. I'm keen to learn myself, but I'm conscious I have some work to do as well. Again, three really interesting reds. The first one, the Degrassi. I really like what came through to me on this one was the primary characters of the fruit. Although there is some oak, it was the primary fruit that was very much to the fore. And both on the aroma and on the palate, there's a juiciness to it. And that juiciness is always good as long as it's matched by the freshness, by the acidity, which in this it is. It's also got a slight peppery edge. And I'm not quite sure where that comes from. Maybe the cab.franc, I'm not sure, but really that, to my mind, helps the freshness as well. I thought that was delicious. Just again, going back to what I keep saying, wines that are easy drinking, but still have a sense of class, that's great. And that's where that wine fits for me. Very easy drinking, not for long aging in my view, enjoyable now, but it's got a lovely, and I do find it very, very successful, I have to say. The second one, a different style, the oak more to the fore, a richer, bolder, oakier style. There is a market for that style of wine, but I have to say that is the style that is less the UK market. Just bolder, and again the alcohol at the high end of expectations for the UK. And then the third one, I'm still not quite sure what to make of this. When I first smelt it, there was a sweetness and a creaminess to it that reminded me of the characters of New Oak, but I'm assured that it obviously isn't New Oak. Must be something else to it as well. Every time I go back to it, it's changing, which for me is a characteristic of exciting wine. That's what I like. I found look, my training in wine is largely in Bordeaux. So for me, the Cabernet Sauvignon maybe was closer to familiar ground for me. But I do still find that really exciting. As I say, it's still changing. That's the sort of wine I would just love to sit down with a bottle of and chat, think, meditate, whatever, take my time and see where it takes me. Because there's lots of interesting flavours going on. And the fact that it's a blend rather than a single varietal, in this case for me, makes it a little bit harder to define, harder to penetrate, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. But really interesting. But an intriguing contrast to the Cabernet. But again, some very high-class wines there, I think. Thank you. I have said I'm enjoying this, haven't I? Because if I haven't, I should have done. Okay? This is a bit of a treat, so thank you. I'm actually going to talk about the third one first, because I think it was disadvantaged by the order of tasting here. So just a word or two about the Figurica. That, to my mind, it's just a really good red wine match to the white we tried earlier. The white was uncomplicated, fruity, fresh, easy drinking, and that's exactly where this is as well. And I think it's well done. Comes across as very slightly sweet on the palate, but it's got nice flavours, it's fresh, really, really easy drinking. I assume a little bit less expensive than the other two, but maybe I'm wrong. But that's the way it comes across, just a slightly simpler style. Onto the Merlot, which, I mean, I think I'm beginning to get a feel for the Degrassi style now, which is very fruit forward, and this is, again, is a really good example of just very, very pure fruit character. It's very pure Merlot, really nicely done, very soft tannins, freshness again, no oak. They just do that. You do this. Okay, there's oak, but it doesn't come across. It's the fruit. It's the primary fruit character that comes through, and it just works. I don't know what your strategy is in export markets, but for me, this is perfect restaurant and hotel wine. Wines that people can rely on. They're ready to drink. They're just enjoyable now, really enjoyable, with a sense of class as well. I think this is very good, pure Merlot style. It's very well done. And then a Syrah. Well, I got excited about the earlier Syrah. I'm pretty excited by this one as well, I have to say. It's totally different in style to the Bas de Bas that we had earlier. But it's, again, really compelling. Very, very good, I think. The earlier one I found was marked by that just overall harmony and freshness. This one has more of the wild, spicy, savoury side of Syrah, to me. Just different characters coming through, but really exciting. Quite a lot of oak, sweet oak. On the nose, some of you, I suspect, will have, or I hope one or two of you will have drunk Grange Hermitage from Grange from Australia. On the nose, it reminds me of Grange. Not so much on the palate, because Grange on the palate is more tannic, more structured than this. But on the nose, it reminded me of Grange, I have to say. Very, very classy. On the palate, a lot of flavour, and that is just, that and the earlier Syrah are just a masterclass in high-class Syrah in slightly different styles. I think they're both really good. Okay, so thank you. The word I've written is hedonistic. It's very generous. It's a very giving style of wine. And sometimes the really giving styles of wine are just a bit soft. They haven't got the freshness to support them, but I think that has. I think it has got the acidity as well. I really enjoy it. Very good. Thank you.